I'm a strong believer. I'm a strong believer in the notion that everyone, regardless of who they are, where they are from, whether they walk with a limp or were born with a tail, almost everyone will stumble upon an opportunity without any prior plan or intent, but entirely by chance. Now, when you come across one of these fortuitous moments, I urge you, don't run away from it. Don't let the moment pass you by. Instead, take this opportunity that you have been presented with by nothing else but random chance and build on it. About 3 years ago, a month or so into my freshman year of high school, I was faced with one such opportunity. You see, my school was hosting its annual club rush, and it was here where I stumbled upon this stand with these beautiful pictures of Cape Town, South Africa, someplace I'd always wanted to go. Turns out that the club hosted an annual contest for its members, the winners of which would get an all-expense-paid trip to volunteer in the country over the summer. Now let me just say, as soon as I heard the words free and trip, shoot, before you could say the words onomatopoeia, I had already signed myself up. Now, the club itself, the Manenberg Artesia AIDS Project, was an international coalition between Artesia High School here in Southern California and Manenberg High School near Cape Town, South Africa, which strove to end the stigma related to HIV/AIDS around the world. Now, for one of our first events, we volunteered at a local AIDS food bank. And it was here where I started to notice that many of the people coming here were, in fact, currently experiencing homelessness and had been for a while. Growing up in LA, you become almost acclimated to the homelessness crisis all around you. So it wasn't until I volunteered here that I really started to empathize with the situation. This inspired me to start my own nonprofit, A Roof for All, with the goal of ending homelessness in the greater LA area. I felt that this was needed since its niche of fighting food insecurity with the intent to make housing more accessible was just not being focused on in the high school sphere. Of course, you might say, there are countless other organizations working on the same exact thing, and you are right. But you see, nonprofits and local coalitions alike can only do so much. Throughout the years, both the government and countless organizations have worked to create low-income housing, as well as several ways for people to access healthy food. But why does it still seem like the number of people on the street has only increased? Well, you see, even though people are slowly being transitioned into these new housing facilities, the relatively stringent requirements for many of these areas are leaving many behind. One of the most impactful areas, the areas where I feel that the brunt of this issue is most evident, is in downtown LA's own Skid Row. In this area, you can see, despite all of these housing efforts and all of these efforts made by the government as well as several local organizations, there are still countless flimsy tents on tight sidewalks, which are not only detrimental to the health of the people living in them, but also to the community as a whole. See, because it only further validates our government in continuing to further overlook Skid Row's issues in favor of already economically productive areas of the city. To curb this, there are three things that we can do. One, we need to incentivize new businesses to move into the community. This way they can bring in the resources and jobs it so desperately needs. And number two, we can take the several barely used parking lots throughout the Skid Row area, which are barely being used, and turn them into temporary housing areas. This way we can get people off sidewalks, which are completely polluted, full of gas and smoke, and we can make sure that the building areas are more attractive to potential people who want to move into these areas. And of course, these areas are just that. The ultimate goal is for these to be but temporary. So, we need to make sure that sanitation facilities and regular mental and physical health checkups are a frequent sight at these areas. This way, we can tackle the underlying mental health and addiction-related issues, which are at the root of this issue and making this transition to a better quality of life so much harder for so many. This is why I'm currently a candidate for downtown LA's neighborhood council elections this year. This way, I can do my part for the community both on the ground and, hopefully soon, through influencing my city legislature as well. Every once in a while, we are going to be met with a chance, with an opportunity, with a moment, when we are faced with an opportunity to do something more, to build something better, something lasting. Now, when you come across one of these fortuitous opportunities, I urge you, build from them something better, something lasting, something no longer simply by chance, but because that was what you decided to do with your moment. Thank you.